Grant him the gift of your wisdom to help each of you to obtain the highest ideals for which you strive. We ask his blessing, your blessing to be with him, that he challenges you each day to become the best men that you can become. But most especially, we ask God's blessings to be with us, to help us to grow in our Christian faith each day, to become the role models that we each have the potential to be. And we ask this all through Christ our Lord.
Thank you, Father, and I want to also thank you guys for being here today. Today's an exciting day for Knoxville Catholic High School. Before I introduce our new coach, I'd like to take a moment to thank our search committee that assisted me and Jason Service on our search. Several of those guys are here today, and we thank them for their efforts. Tom Coulter, John Ferris, Bruce Hartman, Dunstan Kendrick, Father Chris Michelson, John Nix, Bob Petroni, Harrison Smith, Howie Somperak, and Mark Williamson. Thank you to our search committee for your help in this process. A little background on Coach Corey Mobbs. He is the youngest of three brothers. He was born in Chattanooga, and at a very early age, he moved to Atlanta with his family. He attended Parkview High School and played football there, and was fortunate enough to win a state championship in 1997. He played safety. He then attended Samford University, where he received a Bachelor of Arts in History, and then he earned his Master's of Arts in Teaching from Piedmont, and then a specialist degree in coaching from Valdosta State University. Coach Mobbs began his coaching career at Collins Hill High School in 2005 in Georgia, and in 2010 he accepted the position of offensive coordinator at the newly formed Lanier High School in Atlanta. In 2014, he became the head coach of Lanier, and only the second varsity season that the school had ever experienced. During his 7 seasons at the helm, he led Lanier to 2 region championships, 3 Sweet 16 appearances, and the state semifinals, and 6 consecutive playoff appearances as head coach beginning in 2014. His career record is 58-22, and Lanier is currently playing in a very difficult 6A level in Georgia. He boasts over 70 college signees in his short history at Lanier, and 3 All-Americans in 2015, 2019, and 2020. Derek Brown, the number 7 overall pick in the draft, who's with the Carolina Panthers, played at Auburn. Quarterback Zach Calzada, who's at Texas A&M currently. And defensive end Philip Webb, who's currently at LSU, just to name a few. Coach Mobbs was a Region Coach of the Year 2 times. He was a GACA All-Star Coach in 2017 and 2019, and he has represented Lanier High School in the Under Armour All-American game in 2019 and 2020. We are excited to welcome Corey Mobbs to Catholic High School. Coach Mobbs builds programs that personify class and excellence, and his teams compete with relentless energy. He has compiled an impressive record in his 7 seasons, and his passion and enthusiasm for the game of football is contagious. We look forward to Coach Mobbs leading the Fighting Irish on and off the field. Our student athletes are fortunate to have him as their head coach. I also want to mention that Coach Mobbs has been married to his wife, Mary, for 16 years. They are the proud parents of 3 children. Ruby, who is 11, Knox is 8, and Liza is 3. And his wife, Mary, is a nurse practitioner at Children's Healthcare in Atlanta. And just a neat story, Corey, they are quiet UT fans that live down in Atlanta. They bleed orange. They love the Vols. Corey grew up going to UT games, and his grandfather Royce was the biggest UT fan there ever was. So when they found out they were having a boy, they really wanted to name him after their grandfather. So I hope you don't mind me sharing the story. So they decided Royce was not a name they wanted their new son to have. So because he loved UT football so much, they named him Knox. So I thought I would share that story. But please join me, and he's going to come up and speak for a few moments, and then we're going to open it up for questions if anybody has any questions. But please join me in giving Corey Mobbs a warm Irish welcome.
Appreciate all the kind words. The problem with kind words is you have to live up to those again. So, no, just kidding. So it's so good to be here. Like to say often, and today I'll say it for the first time, it's great to be Irish. And so many warm faces as I look out. I can see those that have a mask on. You're smiling behind that mask, I know. And you know, I met with the football team just maybe a few minutes ago, and what I was so impressed with, and this is something as a football coach, when you go into a program, you can tell right away how they've been coached and what kind of homes they come from by their body language. And I saw eyes, and I saw their head moving as I nervously paced the locker room. And that tells me all I need to know about this place, and validates the choice that we've made as a family to call this home. And we couldn't be prouder to be in Knoxville, Tennessee. Folks, you know, God has opened so many doors over the last week. And I look forward to sharing those stories at a different time with some of you personally. But this has been a thing where, honestly, coming from a great program in Sugar Hill, Georgia, a lot of success. And I would be crazy to tell you that if it weren't for the young men in the program that I'm coming from, this type of opportunity would not have presented itself. So yesterday, about 24 hours ago, as a matter of fact, I had a lot tougher conversation in another locker room. And the reason it was tough is because of the relationships that go far beyond football. Go far beyond just a game that we play and plays that we call and a helmet we put on. But it's about a deep relationship that the game can bring us on. And I'm so excited about developing those relationships with the young men in our program, with our administration, and with the faculty here at Knoxville Catholic. I could not be prouder to be here today. I want to introduce, I know Mr. Sombrick mentioned my wife. One of the things, and I hope you'll learn this, and I know you will, the first quality of being a good football coach, okay, and I know that's always up for debate depending on what play is called, but the first quality of being a good football coach is being married to the right person. And for 16 years, I've never doubted the choice that I made when I married my high school sweetheart. So when you really want to know, I may be the head football coach here in this building, but the head football coach at home is my wife. If y'all would you give her a round of applause? So, a tremendous blessing. I've talked about many of the doors that God has opened over the last week and a half. She has been right there through it all. And when, I was indecisive about where the path was being led, she told me exactly what God was telling me. So, very, very thankful for her. So who am I? Who am I? I'm just a football coach that's been very blessed to work with young men, work with great families, work in a great community, and now have the opportunity to come to a community that is one of the best. That is absolutely one of the best. I told the young men in the locker room, as they leave Catholic after their 4 years, I want them to do two things. First of all, I want them to be proud of who they are. And I know many of them already are. So proud of who they are, and then secondly, proud of where they're from. Proud of who they are and where they're from. And we will wear the green and gold with pride and do it all. And so my thing has always been, we're going to do things with character, we're going to do things with class, and we're going to do things with commitment. And it's so special to now be able to pair those C words with Knoxville Catholic. And I'm excited about doing that. So, everybody wants to talk about winning football games. We're going to talk about championship habits and everything that we do. because I truly believe when our habits reflect our day-to-day championship habits reflect who we are and what we want to be as a program, those things will certainly take care of themselves. The big question, Coach, what are you going to do on offense, right? That's what everybody wants to know. Okay? I told the young men in the locker room, we're going to score now. Okay? And that looks many different ways, depending on what kind of personnel you have, who will vary tempo, create mismatches, and distribute the ball to the athletes in space. The best part about knowing where I am is I did watch a little bit of film, okay? And we have all of those things that are ready to do. And on defense, we will be relentless pursuers of the football. All 11 hats arriving in a bad humor with something to prove and competing in everything we do. Once again, it's a great day to be Irish. Thank you so much for allowing me the humble honor to be your head football coach.
Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask of Coach Mobbs?
Put me on the spot.
Coach, can you talk about spring practice?
Yes. So we mentioned this in the locker room, but I know maybe there was a rumor going around that spring practice was not going to take place. We're going to have spring practice, and there will be a plan within the next 2 days about how that's going to be executed. And so excited about getting to work with the young men in our program, and we will certainly be participating in spring practice.
I'll ask you a question.
Sure.
You obviously talked a lot about your scheme, and this is a job that a lot of people wanted. Why do you just feel like you are the right fit for this position and to lead Knoxville Catholic football?
Sure, that's a great question. I know what this program has been, and there's certainly an attitude that it's definitely not been broken. And I know, secondly, that this place has had a tremendous staff, some great coaches that are still in the building. And then obviously when you look at the young men in the locker room, the talent, and then what kind of young men they are. When you talk about wanting to raise your family in a place like this, it's pretty much a no-brainer. And still made the decision hard because of who I left back in Georgia, but never looking back. Great decision.
You mentioned the staff there. Just what is that process going forward with what you have? And
Yeah, sure. So we'll continue to evaluate that. Again, I know there's some tremendous men in the building, and I would assume that we'll have conversations pretty quickly, and look forward for them to get to know me and to get to know them as well. And we'll begin to start working on that trust process.
You mentioned watching some tape on this team. Was there a specific game that you watched that maybe stood out to you that kind of impressed you about your new team?
So you're first going to go to YouTube, right? And then you go to Huddle. But I know we played 2 recent games on ESPN, and possibly looking at options for the future that we're excited about being in a Catholic game, and can't wait to experience that on Friday night.
Coach, can we get some shots of you all?
Sure.
Brianna?
Yes, sir. That's a great question. I think it's about relationships, number one. So I know I met you in the locker room, and I look forward to meeting you further, and we'll sit down and talk about that, right? I know that these young men that are in that locker room with me mean a ton to you, and there have been some great coaches that have affected you, and I look forward to talking about those things. I appreciate you being bold enough to ask a question. That's awesome.